in addition to the Ulberg-Charant fight, this is another really high-quality fight that's on the early prelims, which is kind of crazy. I mean, this belongs on a fight night main card, maybe even like um, at least the opener. And it's funny because Hernandez even said that. He's like, how the hell am I fighting on the how the hell am I fighting on the early prelims? But Hernandez had a ton of hype after his huge knockout of Beneil Dariush, and that victory has aged extremely well. Now you could argue that he did like a little cheap shot thing where he pretended like he was going to shake hands and knocked out Beneil Dariush, but a knockout over Beneil Dariush is a knockout over Beneil Dariush. I mean, he clearly has, fire in his hands, but so far, he's a prospect who has a lot of potential, but he's kind of been 50-50 in the UFC. And Renato Moicano has been kind of like that too. He was a very high-level prospect, and he even ended up beating Calvin Kattar, if I'm not mistaken, with those leg kicks by decision. Then he submitted Cub Swanson, but then he got finished by Jose Aldo. Then he got knocked out by Chan Sung Jung in the first round, Korean Zombie. Then he destroyed Damir Hadzovic, wasn't even competitive, and he was like screaming about it. And then Rafael Fiziev knocked him out brutally. Then he had a nice change of style where he focused on his grappling and he beat Jay Herbert, who's a solid fighter. He actually has a knockout win over Kama Worthy. I know Kama Worthy is no longer in the UFC, but Kama Worthy is still a solid fighter. But Jay Herbert, he doesn't really have the best takedown defense. But so it's kind of interesting to look at these two guys. So my first inclination, looking at the odds, was to take a stab at Hernandez at plus 140, which may not be a bad play because of the fact that Moicano has been getting knocked out brutally pretty recently, and I don't know how good his chin is, although he showed very big improvement against Jay Herbert, so maybe that's not the best idea. The other part, you got to think about it, if this path to victory, Moicano, is with the takedowns. Hernandez is a very solid wrestler. He grew up wrestling, very good. Obviously, Moicano has a huge jiu-jitsu advantage, but Hernandez might be able to stuff the takedowns and beat him on the feet. Although Moises kind of destroyed Hernandez on the feet, but Moises is a very solid fighter. People don't give him enough credit. I know he got destroyed by Makhachev, but he's very good. Got destroyed by Joe Alvarez. I mean, those guys are like future title challengers and, even champions. I would argue, especially Makhachev, but even Joel, I really like his style. I think he's really good. But I saw another line that jumped out at me that I thought was really good. I think the best line to take on this would be for the fight to go to the distance. I know it's not a sexy and exciting way, but it's solid. It's plus 120. Again, these guys are pretty small. They don't really have too many knockouts. I mean, I know like Hernandez's next fight, he destroyed a guy who was completely way better than Mike Breeden. It was a mismatch. But in general, I mean, I guess if against solid opponents, usually he does go to decision with him. With Moicano, again, you just have to worry about the fact that they have Moicano's chin might not be there. But I think there might be a lot of wrestling going on in this fight. I guess Moicano could get a sub. But, looking at it, I mean, I guess you could say that Moicano does have a lot of finishes. But I don't know. I just feel like the way that they match up, I just don't really see a finish coming. See a tough fought decision, especially those guys. They're being much more conservative now, more intelligent. So I do see the fight going to a decision plus 120 might be the best play. Or probably taking Hernandez at plus 140, his ability to stuff the takedowns and, maybe hurt Moicano on the feet, especially with Moicano's chin maybe not being the same that it used to be. So I really think that's kind of the best play. Either that or stay away. But either way, I'm excited to see this fight. I like both fighters a lot. And again, I think it's a steal to see these guys who are great and have name value on the early prelims. So I'm excited to see that fight. And thank you guys for the support. Please like and subscribe, and I appreciate it.